Good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. We begin with our land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that the ground on which we live is the traditional territory of Caldwell First Nation, of the Three Fires Confederacy, and the original people of Point Pelee and Pelee Island and its surrounding lands and waters, and that of the Huron, Wendat, and Wyandot peoples. We recognize and respect the First Nations who are stewards of the land and waters of Turtle Island and who have embraced this stewardship since time immemorial. We would also like to acknowledge contributions of other nearby First Nation communities and all original people across Turtle Island. We'll now have a moment of silent reflection, followed by the playing of the national anthem. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Okay, if we can get an adoption of the agenda for our December 9th, 2025 regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Carrick, support by Councillor Burns. All in favor? That carries. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest? There being none, adoption of the minutes of the regular and closed meeting of council held November 25th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Richo Spagnolo, support by Councillor Reno. All in favor? That carries. Mayor's comments. All right. So as we begin tonight's meeting, I just wanted to first take a moment to acknowledge that the council has officially completed, well, officially except for approve the bylaw, our budget deliberations. And this is never an easy process, and it requires careful thought, collaboration, and difficult decisions. I want to sincerely thank my fellow council members and our administration for the time, professionalism, dedication shown throughout this process. While this year brought its share of challenges, we continue to work together as a team, always focused on delivering the services and amenities our residents value and expect. I also want to reflect on some recent highlights in our community. The grand opening of LaSalle Skate Trail, the Loop, was a tremendous success. Seeing families, friends, and neighbors come out and really enjoy the space was incredibly rewarding. And it's already becoming a place that brings energy and joy to our community. The Loop is now a daily operation from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. For the season, obviously weather dependent. Check our website for information. This weekend and next weekend, LaSalle Landing continues to be filled with fun activities as our Holiday Lights Heritage Nights programming continues, running Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays until December 21st. And I encourage residents again to visit our website for a full weekend programming. There are family activities, visits with Santa, skating opportunities, and holiday markets on Saturdays and Sundays. Truly something for everyone to enjoy. And of course, I do encourage everyone to take some time to walk through the holiday lights at Town Hall. It's a simple but meaningful way to enjoy the season and experience the festive spirit right here in our community. I want to remind residents that there are plenty of opportunities to stay active over the holidays. So we do have swim and skate sessions at the Valmer in December. And residents are encouraged to register through our website to reserve those spots. And as we approach the holidays, a reminder of upcoming closures. Town Hall will be closed on December 24th and will reopen on January 2nd. The Valmer will close at noon on December 24th and reopen after Boxing Day, and will close at 3 p.m. on December 31st. And I also hope you'll join us for our New Year's Eve fireworks at 7:30 p.m. at the Valmer Complex to ring in the new year together. None of this would be possible without our incredible team and the work of our staff. So thank you to all of you for everything you do through the year. To our administration, operations team, and everyone behind the scenes, thank you. Thank you to council for your collaboration and dedication, especially during a year that at times tested all of us. But we continue to work together, and because of that, we will become stronger. So thank you, everybody, and we'll move on with the meeting. We don't have any public meetings or hearings, nor do we have presentations or delegations, so we'll go into our staff reports. Item 1 is the Heroism Award policy, and I will turn that over to our policy and legislative coordinator, Ms. Dylan Mickle.
Thank you, Mayor Meloche. Good evening, everybody. The Heroism Award policy was developed by the mayor to establish criteria and a process for recognizing individuals, civilians, emergency personnel, and municipal employees who perform life-saving actions or acts of exceptional bravery within the community. The categories of the Heroism Award include a Medal of Valor. This is to recognize individuals who risk their lives to save others in extreme circumstances. The Act of Heroism, which is to honor outstanding service, leadership, or professionalism during emergencies or critical incidents. Mayor's Commendation, to acknowledge courageous or quick-thinking actions that contributed to life safety. And the Unit or Team Citation, to recognize effective collaboration and coordinated efforts that led to a life-saving or critical outcome. The award will be presented to emergency personnel, municipal staff, or civilians who are nominated through the mayor's office within 1 year of the incident date. The award nominations will be received by the office of the mayor, who holds sole responsibility for final decisions. And council services will be responsible for scheduling a date for award presentations at a regular meeting of council. Award presentations may also be held at an annual recognition ceremony, community or civic event, or in a private setting. There are currently no financial implications at this time. However, there will be future costs associated with purchasing awards. And the recommendation is that the report be received and that the Heroism Award policy be adopted as presented. If you have any questions, I'm here for an answer.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Members of council, Councillor Reno.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think this is a great policy. We get so stuck up in being in these meetings every 2 weeks and, you know, having a very limited number of people come down. It's nice to be able to open the doors to the community and recognize some of the great things that are happening out there. I realize we have staff that do this for a living, but there are other people as well that are out there and well deserving of some recognition, and I welcome them all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? The recommendation is that the report of the Policy and Legislative Coordinator dated November 20th, 2025, which is CS-2025-009 regarding the Heroism Award policy be received, and that the Heroism Award policy be adopted as presented. Moved by Councillor Sheehan, support by Councillor Reno. All in favor? Carries. Item 2 is the appointment of a drainage engineer for the Howard Bouffard Master Drainage Solution. Our drainage superintendent, Mr. McMillan.
Thank you and good evening. Tonight's report is just a simple housekeeping report for the Howard Bouffard Master Drainage Solution project. Earlier this year, as council will recall, we went through the RFP process to obtain engineering services for the project, and Landmark Engineers was selected through that process. This report is simply to formally appoint the engineer of record for the project in accordance with the Drainage Act, and we are recommending the appointment of Mr. Alan Michaud from Landmark Engineers. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Members of council, Councillor Sheehan.
Through you, Mayor Meloche. Maybe this was done at a previous meeting before I was here. I just wondered what the other bids were and who were the people, the companies that put bids in.
Thank you for the question. This was in the previous report, but just we only did receive the one bid for this project. It is quite specialized work based on the scope of the project and the specialty of the Drainage Act. So we actually saw a couple of the local firms get together with acting as a sub-consultant for Landmark. So it was just the one bid that we received.
Further, so you received 3 proposal submissions, but only one bid. Is that? Am I reading that correctly?
No, we received just the one submission.
Yes, because it says 3 here on the report. Wrong report. Thank you. Turn the page.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. The recommendations that the report of the drainage superintendent dated November 21st, 2025, PW-25-2025, regarding the appointment of a drainage engineer for the Howard Bouffard Master Drainage Solution be received, and that Alan, I'm not even going to pronounce his last name correct, Michaud? Oh my. P Engineering, Landmark Engineers Incorporated be appointed drainage engineer to examine the Howard Bouffard drainage area as defined in the Howard Bouffard Master Drainage Study, and that the drainage report be prepared in accordance with Section 78 of the Drainage Act, inclusive of provisions for future maintenance. Moved by Councillor Carrick, support by Councillor Burns. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Item 3 is our Transit Master Plan RFP award. We'll go to our Deputy CEO, Mr. Mara.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight's report is to award a Transit Master Plan proposal to Left Turn, Right Turn Limited for the amount of $52,268,000 plus HST. I will first start off by going through a little bit of background on our transit system, LaSalle Route 25. It was implemented in September of 2017. Since that time of implementation, it has remained relatively unchanged since that time. And since that time, we have gone through 2 contract negotiations, and it's been contracted out to Transit Windsor since that time. Our current contract with Transit Windsor expires in August 2027. Like I had mentioned, it was done in 2017. It was done as part of a 2-part feasibility study at that time. Council of the day decided to proceed with it, and since then we've been operating relatively unchanged with one little minor change in the Morton industrial area over the last couple of years to pick up those industrial ratepayers. So what is the purpose of a transit master plan? A transit master plan is going to do a thorough review of the system. The system has, like I said, it has remained relatively unchanged since implementation. There has been considerable growth, and we are not connecting with all areas of LaSalle today because of the growth. So this is going to look at growth. It's going to be a public process. It's going to seek feedback from the users, from the general public. In addition, it's going to look at what changes have occurred around us to other transit systems. So what changes has Transit Windsor implemented, the Amherstburg route, what's happening with the Leamington route, and all of those types of things they're going to look at. And as part of this, what the intention is through the Transit Master Plan is come up with recommendations. So we're aiming to have this completed early 2027 in advance of us for our next contract negotiations. It'll form probably part of the 2027 budget to have a discussion on what does council want to do with transit, expansion and implementation, and then we will go through on what the changes might be. So that is the intention of what a transit master plan will look at. So the process that we went through was a request for proposal. So a request for proposal was done publicly. And so what we do is we put out a document, and consultants will pick up that document, and they reply to a lot of the information within that proposal document. We received 3 submissions, and so we have reported only today as who the successful consultant was. The submissions were evaluated through a committee. Ms. Hodre, Ms. Beggs, and myself reviewed it. It goes through a process of where we evaluate the technical proposals first, and then we look at the prices. It's not based on price, it's based on overall scoring of the proposals, based on the technical portions of what they supplied, as well as the prices. So in this process, I will preempt Councillor Segan's question. We only report back on who the successful proponent is, because there is a whole scoring mechanism relative to the process and the RFP process. So that we did receive 3 proposals, and so we have evaluated all 3 proposals. We've actually conducted interviews with all 3 consultants as well. And so we're here tonight to recommend the award of this particular Transit Master Plan to Left Turn, Right Turn Limited, and for the amount of $52,268,000 plus HST. Relative to the financing, this project has been budgeted for previously, and the budget for this was $100,000, and it was being funded from the Transit Reserve. So with that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Segan?
I'd like to, through you, Mayor, I personally thank the Deputy CEO for answering my previous stated questions. Thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor Burns?
Few. If you look at page 33 in your report, and it's areas of the town where new residential development is being phased, we will consider temporary or upfronting permanent development of walkways and bikeways. Why just temporary? Why wouldn't we do that as a whole? This is on your, oh, I thought you were on this. Oh, sorry, pardon me.
Councillor Carrick. It's the end of the year, we know.
I'm going to try to stay on this report. Thank you. Just a quick question. So when we go through the public process and it's completely public, is that the time we can look at maybe route timings and changes? Is that when that would be anticipated, that particular time, when suggestions could be made?
Absolutely, that is the timing of when start times begin, when start times end, the days of the week. Right now, we don't run a Sunday service. Do we want to implement the Sunday service? Do we want to take it and split it into two routes? All those things are looked at to best provide the service of what the public is asking for. So that is what we will do. It will be looked at globally in terms of start time, because we really can't start until our partners start. So we could get people to St. Clair College, but if Transit Windsor's not running a system, then it's kind of, it's a moot point. So we're really tied into some of that stuff relative to what our neighboring systems are doing. So that is the time when all of that becomes public and knowledgeable, and your experiences and the user's experience are shared with the consultant so that they can make a recommendation, and then we'll be back in front of council to explain what those changes might be.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I know we're looking at changing schedules or possibly routes. Are we looking at any other options besides what we currently offer?
Thank you for the question. As part of the review, they will be looking at other modes of delivery. So they will be looking at other options relative to what might be available, such as transit on demand, things of that nature, microtransit. They will go through all of that stuff, so that will be part of the process. So it will come back as a comprehensive solution to council, whether it's one or both or a combination of the items. Will be back before council with the final recommendation.
Perfect, thank you very much, and it's nice to see it come in under expected budget for it, so good job. Well, we have a recommendation that the report of the Deputy CAO dated November 21st, 2025, 80-2025-15 regarding the Transit Master Plan RFP award be received, and that the Transit Master Plan contract be awarded for the bid price of $52,268 plus HST to Left Turn Right Turn Limited, and that this amount be funded from the Transit Reserve. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kapata, support by Councillor Reno. All in favor? That carries. Active transportation now. Manager of Engineering, Mr. Capucci.
Thank you very much. Let me just start sharing my screen and we will begin. Perfect. Okay, thank you. I'm excited to be talking to everyone here tonight about active transportation for two reasons. One, I do love active transportation. I've been part of it almost my entire career. And two, it was a 2025 goal for Public Works. And this being the last council meeting to get this report in, we got it in on time, which is an efficient use of time, not procrastinating. So just, it's a good thing. So the report here is, I summarized it in a PowerPoint just because there's a lot of figures and charts. So I put a little PowerPoint up there. I'm sure it's easier to see up there than it is in the report itself. So it's broken down into these 6 areas. We have the summary of the recommendation. This is everything we'll talk about. The construction completed in the last 5 years. Some of the highlights that we did in those 5 years. Proposed updates to the active transportation report, active transportation traffic calming, which we'll get into at the end, and then maintenance and repair. The summary of the recommendation is essentially to repeal the existing active transportation policy. Really, all we're doing here is rebranding. The policy itself, that it's always been there, the active transportation, the contents of that report is still very good, and we still use it today, but it's not really a policy. It doesn't follow what a policy should be. It doesn't look or smell or taste like a policy, so we're taking that name out of it. It's kind of been confusing. But everything inside the policy, so all the content is still the same. All of the document essentially is going to become just an internal working report for staff. So we're going to repeal the existing policy and continue using the report going forward for all staff design requirements. When we're looking at any active transportation facilities, we will still be calling upon the original policy, as it were, and just updating. So that policy was from 2020 to 2025. I had recommendations for that time period. So we've updated that time period to match 2025 to 2030. And then this was an opportunity for us to talk about the work that we've done around town. This slide, there's a lot of words here, but in the last 5 years, we've completed a lot of work within the town, roughly 33 kilometers of active transportation. So that's 20% growth of the town's active transportation network increased over 5 years, which is pretty cool. 13% of that was through our capital works program, and the remainder was through our development, through planning. The major thing here, the numbers aren't as important as the fact that it really shows you how important it is through planning and through engineering and public works, working with the development community to build these neighborhoods with active transportation in mind, because they are really building a lot of those facilities for us. And so the town really does need to work together to get a product that we want, and in LaSalle, trails are extremely high of a priority for the town and for the people that live here. This slide kind of puts, you can't really see it much better on the PowerPoint, but this kind of shows the 5 years worth of work. That's also, this chart is also in the report. It just, you know, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, so this is just shows all the work, all the areas that we've done. You can see in this area closer to Victory and Martin, you know, that was a new subdivision that was built. It highlights kind of where all those major developments were. And it's just a chart showing all the work we did in the last 5 years. And this is just for everyone's understanding, this is our overall traffic, or active transportation network. To date, we have about 185 kilometers worth of active transportation, that includes sidewalks, multi-use trails, bike lanes around the town. So some of the highlights, I'm going to focus on 4, is the first one off the bat is the Forest Trail connection. And that's Amoco, through their development, created a bridge, or built a bridge and a huge trail connection point right here at the Cahill Bridge, or at the Cahill Drain. And that was able to essentially connect Brunette Park to everyone east of the Cahill Drain. So everyone within the Heritage Estates area. It's pretty big deal because it now allowed pretty much full east-west movement for anyone within active transportation. So you can get from the Herb Gray Parkway or the College Say all the way to Front Road using that connection point. So you're essentially on a trail. And then when we do complete Malden Road, there will be a PXO crossing Malden Road, so that barrier would also be reduced there. So it's a pretty big connection point to have. The hydro corridor, we were working on that for quite some time, and there were some environmental issues. But those are those red marks you can see over here, as well as north of Normandy, that created some connections to those neighborhoods. We did a few pedestrian crossings along Front, as well as Normandy, and upgraded Sprucewood, as well as Matchett PXOs, which have been a huge improvement. Those create safe crossings locations. And the Parks Use Master Plan it was also completed during this time frame. That used the original, the document that we're talking about tonight, that's getting that rebranding I was mentioning. So that used some of those policies in there, which is very helpful because, you know, we went out to the public and you have all these meetings with the public. And it's nice to hear that the trails still are a top priority for the users around the town of LaSalle. So that's what we did in the last 5 years, and now we're going to talk about what we're planning on doing. We've always used kind of a priority A, B, and C system for the active transportation facilities. A is pretty much like the easy, quick jobs. C are for jobs that are harder or further planned out, that require more improvements, and B is kind of in the middle. The challenge this year, though, was there's a lot less low-hanging fruit. There's a lot less easy trails to go build because there are requiring additional infrastructure improvements, be it culvert installations or utility relocations, or perhaps the road would need to get built and there'll needs to be curbs installed in the future. So you really do need to start prioritizing cost function and the impact to the community. There's a trail in one spot that only, you know, may allow only 5 users to use the trail versus 500 users use the trail. So those, so you need to kind of look at that. So what are the pedestrian generator locations? Are there trails? Are there parks? Are there schools? Are there other commercial developments in the area that will have a high impact to the users? And then aligning that with timing with other capital and development projects. So if there is a development project that's on the horizon that we know that we want to complete some sort of active transportation facility in that area, we may be holding off until we complete that development so that the facility essentially doesn't lead to nowhere. So the list of the priority A's are shown here on the screen. Again, doesn't show much better than I had hoped, but the lines in red are the 5-year plans. I can go over them very quickly for you here. If you can see my cursor, which you barely can, right there is the heritage bike lanes. So as part of our traffic master plan, we've been planning to put bike lanes on Heritage. Now that the roundabout's been completed, it's designed to take those bike lanes. All that we have to do is go paint them, which is planned for the spring. We have some work here that we're earmarked at Martin. The county and the town have been talking about installing a signal there. It's kind of in the county's court right now. But should a signal get installed, we would likely have to do some sort of sidewalk upgrades in that area. So we have that earmarked. There's a little spot right here, that's Meloche. There's a little area there. That's one of the remaining low-hanging fruit, I would say. And then between Malden and Riem, those are 2 larger projects that we'd like to see get done and hope that we would have capacity to do it in the future. The yellow areas here are the Group B, yellow areas are Group B projects, which can kind of float up to Group A projects given just timing and other mechanisms that could get us to complete those projects sooner. Active transportation traffic calming. So when I wrote the report, we were also going to do traffic calming, this policy on the same night. So this was going to kind of tie it all together. But I'll still talk about it a little bit. Mr. Bartlett has a traffic calming report coming in the new year. Essentially, whenever we get calls from the public about safety on long streets, you kind of have 2 complaints, and it's rightly so. You have speed. There's too much people speeding along my street, and it's not safe for users, or there's no facility to use. And traffic calming and active transportation, they can kind of work together to achieve both those things. Here I show crosswalks that one is raised, the one on the left is raised, and the one on the right is a bump out. So the bump out causes essentially driver discomfort and forces them to slow down, and that's kind of the thread behind traffic calming is you want to slow vehicles down just naturally without forcing them. A lot of times when you put a unwarranted stop or an unwarranted speed hump and what'll happen is the driver will slow down at that point in the street, but then to make up for lost time, you see their speeds increase further along the street. So with traffic calming, you want to come with a solution that will get them to drive at the speed you want them, without them being, getting them to drive the speeds you want comfortably. So with active transportation, those are both crosswalks, so you would want pedestrians to cross at the safest point, so at a designated crosswalk. And so with active transportation and traffic calming, you can kind of work together to achieve goals for both areas, safe crossings and facilities for users, as well as calmer streets for drivers. And it's the Transportation Association of Canada. They have data on deaths when it comes to speeds and pedestrians, and I think 60 kilometers an hour pedestrian death is, I think, around 85%. But when you get pedestrian or drivers down to 40%, or down to 40 kilometers, the likelihood of living it skyrockets, is a lot safer, and the death rate is only around 15 to 20%. So getting vehicles to slow down and getting proper facilities built for pedestrians is a huge thing for us here. Lastly, maintenance and repair. This is kind of something new, and this photo isn't the best because of the snow, but most of our facilities at the town of LaSalle are relatively new, and we didn't really have to worry too much about the maintenance side of the facilities because they've always been new. But as time goes on, and like any other piece of infrastructure, those things start to wear down. So this is a photo along Laurier, and you can see that the multi-use trail is in need of some sort of repair here. So this slide really isn't much more than saying you may see our maintenance of these facilities increase just because the age of the infrastructure has also been increasing. With that, that's everything that I wanted to talk to you about, but I'll open it up for any questions.
Thank you very much. Members of council, Councilor Reno?
Thank you, Your Worship. This may not be for Mr. Capucci. It may come back towards the front of the room, but in any of this active transportation planning, is there anything that's going to look at the trails up in the new Gilmore Park area, or is that strictly a LaSalle Landing discussion? Do they play into this at all, being the trail along the water that was originally supposed to come in 2026, which I would only assume is pushed back a little bit? Could you comment on that?
Thank you. What the active transportation policy covers is trail networks through the road, along with the road network, so through the public right-of-ways. With respect to trails around facilities such as the Vollmer or the LaSalle Landing, those are specific to those sites, so those are site-specific active transportation. Those are a destination, so through Mr. Capucci's work, he wants to get people connected to the LaSalle Landing through the road network, so that people can get there with active transportation as opposed to driving. Then when we get them there, the project itself needs to have some component to allow people to move around the site. So it's separated from this. This one is solely looking at how people get around the municipality, but then specifically to the Vollmer, I'd say the Vollmer and the LaSalle Landing, those are more site-specific, and those are done based on what the current master plan is and subsequent funding and all that stuff.
Thank you very much.
Councilor Burns?
It's finally time. First question I have is we've proceeded with this plan and we've done it in-house. And if that is correct, when we present this for grants down the road at some point on these larger projects, does it have as much credence as had we gone out and had a consultant do it? If you can answer it, please. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I don't know if it actually would make a difference that we hadn't done it in-house for grants. Are you saying through the provincial or federal government? Is that what you're saying? I honestly, I don't know.
Just since I have a little bit of experience applying for grants, I don't think it'll have much of an impact I think the main thing is we have support to attach to the grant application, rather than just writing what we're applying for. When you can attach support that shows exactly what we plan on doing, that definitely will help.
Thank you. First off, it's
Oh,
very,
Sorry, can I just speaking about grants, the town we did apply for the CWATS grant for the active transportation facilities along Malden, and we were able to receive $230,000 for the Malden road work coming up. So it wasn't a provincial federal grant, but locally, we did receive some funding through that.
I think they promised us that 2 years ago. But we don't have to debate that. First, it's very well written. Takes a lot of time to read it. On page 33 of your document, and page 3 of your document of 33, it says that the town and areas of new development will be phased, and the town will consider temporary or upfronting permanent development of sidewalks, trails, etc. I'm wondering why. And then the next one down, where do we go with having now from one sidewalk only on the street to having two? And that's the next one down. Those would be the two from that page. And I'm just wondering why we wouldn't do everything at once, even if it's outside the development, knowing that down the road, the developer would have to pay for that.
Yeah, through you,
Thank
Madam Mayor. I think that's referring to if a development was happening and there was not a dead spot, but an area between the next node or next intersection where development might be happening in the future. The term temporary or non-permanent is essentially allowing some sort of active transportation to be installed, but the permanent solution isn't installed at that time. And it could be because we need to fill in the ditches, or we might need to rip it out for some reason, or an asphalt trail might not be necessary at that time. So it just kind of gives us that flexibility to ensure that we have connection points, but it might not be the permanent solution that we're looking for. Then the question about sidewalks on both sides, I don't know when that actually came into play around here, probably this, but that is our standard. I don't know if maybe Mr. Marr or Mr. Osborne can speak to that.
Next on page 36, I like the fact that we're getting some of our money back from CWATS. It's been a long time since they've given us anything. So I'm glad that that's in the document, and that we are certainly setting it up in Part E on Ontario Traffic Manual Book for cycling. So I commend you with that. I don't think I have anything else, but thank you for the figures and the costs and where we're going.
Mr. Mara?
Thank you for allowing me to speak. To Councilor Burns' question regarding the temporary situation, I wanted to provide council with an example where we did temporary. When Laurier was built in 2010, we did a connection where Howard Business Parkway extended through. So we put a trail through there as a temporary trail aligning with Howard Business Parkway that connected to Laurier. The reason why we did that is we own the right-of-way, and we can get that trail in there. But that trail does not correspond with any future development out there, because that is not where that right-of-way is going to land. But certainly, it's been in place for 15 years now, and it's been providing us great service and providing that connection to people. As that area develops, you're going to see that trail disappear, and it's going to be reallocated or relocated onto right-of-ways in that area. So that's really where the temporary solutions come into play. It's to get people connected sooner when they start living there, and then based on the phasing of developments to make sure that people can move around. So just so that you have a bit of an insight and awareness of what is meant by the temporary situation. That's a real life example for us to kind of look at.
Councillor Carrick?
Yeah, just on that note, because I see it a lot, that's value for money. By doing that temporary trail, the connection works very well, and it's been there quite a while, and will be there for a little bit longer. So as far as I'm concerned, that's very good value for the money. Thank you.
Councillor Segan?
Through your worship, a question for Mr. Capucci. The residents in the newer area of Heritage asked me at the appropriate time to ask the question. I think this is it now, based on your report, which is very thorough, by the way. Is there going to be some work as far as connectivity to the existing trails from that area? I notice you have on page 53, table 4, the developer's responsibility to do that. Is that in the plans right now? Do you know what I can tell those residents that are asking me those questions?
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. Which section of Heritage?
It's off of Demore, you know where that new section is? Demore
Yeah,
going west?
in terms of connecting,
Connected to existing trails that exist outside of that area.
that section, the newer sections have all their trails installed. They have all the multi-use trails installed as well as sidewalks in that area. They're, I'm not sure, I would be happy to address their questions or concerns, but I'm not sure what trail connectivity they're lacking in that area specifically. We do have plans for additional improvements down the road. We have Cousineau being proposed. I think that's a Schedule B project. But right now, on that side of Demore, I'm trying to think of where the trail connections are lacking, and that's right next to the school, correct? Yeah.
To the south of the school.
Yeah, so there's a trail along the gas line there, so that connects out onto Demore, as well as connecting into the park and the trails, obviously, within the park. There is a future development being proposed along Huron Church. We'll have another trail connection going into that trail on Demore. But again, like, I don't mind reaching out to them and addressing their concerns further.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that, and if I get more specific information, I'll
Please.
contact you. But
Yep.
thank you for your answer.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think just maybe for my own understanding, are you talking about Heritage south of the new trail that's being proposed in red,
Yes,
the green area? So the green area is in Group C.
okay.
So anybody who lives in Heritage currently would have to go down to our purple asphalt trail areas, that's where it connects across Heritage, but also to that new trail that we talked about off of Normandy, if that's, I think, what we're talking about. Mr. Mara?
Thank you. A little bit of context, because I was involved with the Transportation Master Plan, the active Transportation Master Plan. The work proposed on Heritage Drive is going to be relatively tricky. So we're doing the easy part, where there is no on-street parking. So we can do all kinds of stuff, and there's really no residents up front onto there. Where it starts to become trickier and more difficult is as we get into areas where there's driveways and people park on the road already, that's already existing parking on the street, to remove that parking on the street and put on-street bike lanes, or to come through with removing a sidewalk and putting a trail adjacent to the curb on the town property. There's a perception there that we're taking away from the aesthetics of the area. So that's why they're broken up into groups, and we try to do the easy stuff first, and then as we see success with that area, so there will be success with the bike lanes up to Rushwood, between St. Louis Parkway and up to Rushwood, then, the community's going to come forward and say, we'd like it a little bit further, and it gets people a bit more used to seeing that type of stuff. But certainly, it's not lost on us. We know we have to get into some of those areas, and it's always a difficult situation when we get into those areas where we cross the front of people's houses, where they're currently parked on the road and all that type of stuff. But it's not lost on us. We're up for those challenges. We're up for seeing the network grow, because it's only going to better the town as a whole and make it safer for everybody. So as those projects come forward through budget allocations and things of that nature, we'll be back before council with that type of stuff. But those are really geared for future.
All good, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So Martin Lane is being done. We are getting an intersection in 2026. Yay.
Is that what I said?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, Oh, that's good. Yeah,
It's
that's
been
good.
approved
Oh,
at the
okay.
county. So when you say if that light comes, that light is coming.
Oh, so then we'll have to start looking at, well, good thing we have it earmarked, so then we'll start looking at sidewalks.
Yes, and my question was,
Yep.
does the county fund any part of that sidewalk with that location? No.
No, the sidewalks are the municipality's responsibility,
Okay.
even though it's a county road, yep.
So I was really happy to see that in priority A, because when we announced that that light was coming, the next comment from residents was, great, hopefully we'll get a sidewalk there. So great to see that on here. When we talk about CWATs, and I just want to clarify, you said over $200,000, and I believe you're saying for the new Malden Road redevelopment, correct? So are we, and you might not have this answer, we were supposed to be earmarked in 2026 for the continuation of CWATs from Martin, technically around that area, out to the Canard. Have they been in contact with us to say if that's still a go for 2026? Because that was one of the only things in the last 3 years LaSalle was supposed to get when it came to CWAT. So I'm really hoping we're still getting that portion.
Martin to Canard, on Malden?
Yeah, so on Malden Road, we have that trail that I believe it ends right about at Martin, maybe a little past, I could be wrong. I don't have the map up again yet. So are we still earmarked for that in 2026, do we know?
I believe that the trail ends at Gulfview. And I believe what CWATS is proposing for future active transportation is a paved shoulder, the remaining of the way. But to my knowledge, I don't think that's in 2026. Typically, they do that work when they repave the road. I believe Malden really is in pretty decent condition. And just going from memory, I don't think it's in their next kind of group of priorities. I think it's in the next group down off that. But I'm kind of going off of memory here and just off of what I remember the condition of the road to be.
Yeah.
I will also look into that because I know Deputy Mayor and I often look to see if LaSalle is fortunate to receive any CWATs trails. And that was the one we were waiting for because it was the only one that had been
I
identified.
think that was a signed route, and then to Mr. Osborne's point, I think when they were paving it, they're just paving the shoulder. It's not like a bike lane. I believe that's the case for this location. We can double check that, but that's might have what happened.
When we look at priorities A, B, and C, are there any in there that are actually CWATs? Or are they all town?
Those are all town.
They're all town. Okay, thank you. The only other question I had was in priority B. I did notice most of them are several years out, 5+ years, but you did have one that was 2026 and it was a crossing installation. Is that just going to be based on funding availability? That's on reason it's maybe on B, which was the multi-use path Laurier to Reham to Laurier at road name Michigan.
That one won't happen in 2026. That one was when we were looking at Reham and looking at the transportation master plan and the trail connection points, we were looking at where safe crossings would be to connect people along Reham, essentially down Michigan, and where we would want them to cross. We were looking at, Buford now has the PXO, Laurier, we were looking at getting them across there. And so we were just thinking about, getting those crossings. That could have been an error that I didn't erase it before I printed the report, so unfortunately, no. Yeah.
That's okay. Thank you very much. No other questions or comments? Okay, so we have the recommendations at the report of the Manager of Engineering dated October 3rd, 2025, PW-20-2025, regarding active transportation be received, and that the active transportation policy be repealed, and that the active transportation and plan of action document be used as the town's guiding framework to be used internally by staff for ongoing updates and implementation. Moved by Councillor Carrick, support. Councillor Richo Spagnolo, all in favor? And that carries. Item 5 is our 2026 insurance renewal. Our Director of Finance, Mr. Langlois.
Thanks, Your Worship, members of council. So this is just a quick report on our insurance renewal. It's actually come in really good this year. I think it's the lowest. It's the lowest the increase has been since I've been here anyway. So for the regular insurance program, we're going up $33,000, which is 3.61%. I'd say our average has been anywhere from 5 to 10%, and we've had years as high as 15%. So this is, getting back in line, normal rates. At the time of writing this report, I didn't have the cyber insurance renewal yet, but that was really good news. We went from $46,800 in 2025 to $37,525, so a 20% reduction, almost just over $9,000. So that's due to, the hard work that's been put in by Mr. DeJesu and his team on all the cybersecurity and all the, preventative items that we have. Every year we continuously improve that. So we report on that in our application, and it's reduced our rate, which is great. So when you factor that in overall, the total increase is $23,758, which is 2.47% increase overall, which is good news. The policy really doesn't have too many changes. On page 72 of the agenda, the main changes are the building values are increasing to just to reflect inflation. There's some wording there on contractors' equipment, which isn't really going to have too much of an impact on us at all. So it's good news. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Members of council? No? Congratulations and great job, Nick, for your department as well, and all the work you've done to get us a lower rate is fantastic, so thank you. If there's no questions or comments, the recommendations that the report of the Director of Finance dated November 24th, 2025, which is FIN-26-2025 regarding the 2026 insurance renewal be received, and that council authorizes the renewal of the annual insurance program with Intact Public Entities Incorporated Company, and that council authorizes the renewal of cyber insurance through CFC Underwriting Limited. Moved by Councillor Burns, support by Councillor Segan. All in favor? And that carries. Our consent agenda, we have 8 items, except we are going to remove item number 4, and that'll come to a future agenda. Are there any questions or comments on anything else? Deputy Mayor Capata?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to pull out item number 6 and speak to it, please, when it's appropriate.
Okay, so I'll put that down. Anything else we want to pull out, and we'll approve the others? And take out 5. Okay, so before we talk to those 2 items, if we can get a motion to receive item 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. Moved by Councillor Burns, supported by Councillor Carrick. All in favor? Okay, and I will go back to Deputy Mayor Capata, item number 6, Essex Region Conservation Authority.
Thank you, Your Worship. As you're aware, myself and my partner here, Councillor Renaud, sit on IRCA, and I'm not going to deny the fact that we were surprised with what the government is doing. One of the things about IRCA is the uniqueness of where we live, our watershed, and everything else. One of the documents that's there now shows that our area is being consolidated into a larger area with 81 other municipalities who are going to have input, we think, into how we move forward in this region, protecting our watershed, our water, our air, and our trees. Problematically, the time to comment on what the government, province of Ontario, is doing is closing rapidly. This piece of legislation is tied to budget, and of course, the time to comment is constricting and shrinking. The bottom line is we don't know what's going to happen with IRCA. We don't know what's going to happen, if it's going to stay in the same format, how it's going to change. We know something is going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen to the assets that citizens from this municipality have contributed to IRCA, who's going to control them, because again, we don't know. So, and it's not fear of change, it is maintaining what we have and ensuring that we are environmentally responsible as we build and move forward. With the 81 other municipalities, there are differences between us and Guelph, between us and Waterloo, and I don't suggest that someone in Waterloo will not put their municipal interests first. Because we don't know how the makeup of these new councils is going to be, we simply know that it is changing. I do not fear change, I'm not against change, but I will use the words forced change with lack of consultation is not good. So one of the things I'd like to do is I'd like to support what IRCA has put forth in not agreeing with the amended legislation as proposed, and support it so that we as I think we're the last municipality in Essex, the IRCA area, to support the Conservation Authority, its plans, what they've done so far with tree planting, with all of the different structures they maintain, and how we're able to keep our area of LaSalle as green as possible. I'm not going to suggest that the other 80 municipalities don't have our interests at heart, but I will suggest this: it's a definite change that lacks consultation, that came very quickly, that the comment period closes rapidly, and as I said to you, no one can tell us what's coming down the pipe. So we've had some great presentations on active transportation. Perhaps CWATS might fall under our portfolio, we don't know, or under the county's portfolio, for some of these other things that IRCA had. It's just disruptive, and from a person who enjoys green space and grass and trees, I don't think it's a good idea, Your Worship.
Thank you. I don't know if there's any other comments or questions on that before we move to item 5, which deals with kind of the same thing. Move to item 5.
It is very much the same thing. This is actually a resolution that was passed in Kingsville, looking to oppose these changes. Again, as Deputy Mayor Akpatas stated, you know, this got thrown on us very quickly. It came to our last IRCA meeting, and there was a lot of, I really don't know what's going to happen next. What we can appreciate at a local level is that if we have questions or issues, we have council members that sit on a board, and we have a board and we have employees that are local. Although there's been language in the media saying that no one will lose their jobs, we can only assume that some of the professionals throughout the system will be reallocated or maybe be doing things that they're not a specialist in anymore. So again, to protect what we have here and the unique region that we have, you know, it was mentioned in the meeting, we're probably the only region that has major water on both sides of us. Everybody else just has a little piece on one side. We have it everywhere. And it's very pertinent to say that we have a very unique need down here, and we have unique people that are already specialists. We aren't looking to get any more oversight that would be harder to mitigate. As we all know that as things happen at a provincial level, it's a little harder to get a voice to that table than it is to at a local level. So, you know, my suggestion through all this is that we support this letter and we send off our support to Premier Ford, that we are also opposing the consolidation of the conservation authorities.
Okay, so for item number 6, we are just going to have a motion to receive that one?
Yes, Your Worship.
Okay, so we'll start with that one. If we can get a motion to receive item number 6, Councillor Reno and Deputy Mayor Capata, all in favor? That carries. And then item number 5, the opposition consultation of conservation authorities. We're looking to support and
also send a letter to Premier Ford.
okay. And so that's moved by Councillor Reno and support by Councillor Segan. All in favor? And that carries. Committee matters, we do have 2, the County Council highlights and the Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting minutes. Any questions or comments on any of those? No, if we can get a motion to receive. Councillor Carrick and Councillor Riccio Spagnolo, all in favor? And that carries. Questions and statements by council members? Oh. Councillor Reno and then Deputy Mayor Capata.
First of all, a little comment on the Loop. The Loop is amazing. So many happy people, so many families, so many young people who have been looking for a place to be, have been congregating and having fun. The weekend activities have been great. I've made it down for a few beaver tails. And so my only question is, moving forward, obviously the trucks that have been down there have been part of our event, and we have provided them. I'm wondering if there's anything that administration is working on for a more permanent solution for those 3 or 4 spots that are available by the tent, so that in the future we may be able to have like some passive trucks set up during the week or anything to take advantage of that structure up there and maybe create a small destination throughout the years. Have there been any thought of that or any talk of that to be able to maybe rent out the spots when we're not necessarily running an event.
Not everyone jump up. Ms. Finero?
Thank you for the question, Councilor Renaud. There are not any plans at the moment for that, but that is certainly something we could explore and bring back should council wish us to do that.
I just see this as a good opportunity, as a destination all year round. And I would hope that there's something that we could do to provide a spot, maybe for a truck to rent, say, the second week in July or whatever. Maybe if you could go back and look at that and maybe come back to council. Do I need a motion for that? Do I need to make a motion? Okay. Okay, so I would just ask that administration take a look at the possibility of renting the pad area for non-town events and possibly bring back a report of best practices.
Okay, I think one thing we have to be cautious of, and I'm hoping this will be part of the report, is that if we supply someone with a spot to be there for several weeks, several months, we have to make sure we're not competing with our businesses that are right there in Front Road who are paying taxes to be in the municipality as well. So I think that's something we always have to be really cautious of when we look at anything that's maybe more than just a weekend here or there. But it's definitely something I know I've heard from residents that are looking for more opportunities for that. But I think that's what we're trying to do with LaSalle Landing, is we're trying to find those opportunities and hope that they'll invest on the other side of the road. But I definitely could get a report with some information on that if you want.
To the question from Councillor Renaud, one of the challenges that we have at this particular moment is that we are really new into the process. And so I would be a little hesitant to prepare a report at this point in time until we get a little more experience as to what activity levels look like. There are a number of other issues that certainly the mayor has indicated, competition with existing businesses that have footprints already on Front Road is one. I think the other one is we don't currently have a licensing regime for food trucks, so that's another aspect. And the third that comes to mind immediately, and I'm sure there's more that we can think about, is that from time to time, we often program the LaSalle Landing site with activities, and we will bring in food trucks for those particular events. And so it would be understandable that folks that perhaps are paying for a site for a certain period of time, or effectively renting a site, how does that work with competition when we're bringing in folks for Canada Day, for example, when we're bringing in a multitude of food trucks coming in with a space there. So I would, again, understanding where council wants to go with that in terms of getting information, I would suggest that at this point in time, we may be a bit premature in providing that because there's perhaps too many unknowns at this point in time. You're going to get a report that says, well, maybe this, maybe that, and there won't be much definitive at this point in time. I would say 6 months, a year from now, as we develop the loop in terms of programming, both winter and summer, as well as the entire site, we might be in a better position to offer some better guidance in terms of what direction we want to go in. But we lack some of the experience at this point in time with that particular site, with some of the activities. Certainly we can lay out a whole bunch of options for you, but I would tell you from now, we would be really hesitant to recommend anything at this point in time, or when the report comes to council, just because because of our experience level at this point in time.
Okay, I appreciate that. I also, figure that, that we know what events we're running at the landing many, many months in advance. So as, if something was to come forward and we were to make a policy, that we would be able to schedule around them, much like when we can close down the boat ramp and when we can do other things. I think we have that within our power, and I don't need an answer today, but I would like to see some options moving forward, because I think you've built a destination there, you've provided the tent, and I think there's some great opportunity to get our people out and enjoy that space all year round.
All right, so we have moved by Councillor Reno, support. Councillor Richo Spagnolo, all in favor? And that carries. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, just want to echo your comments about last week. I realize that as we sit up here, one of the neat things as we get to sit up here, one of the difficult things is the decisions that we have to make. And I'm going to say something, Your Worship, is that at least in this municipality, we're open to the public. We took public concerns, criticism, and made the best decision we could. The other thing, Your Worship, is to you, there was options that you could have exercised if you chose to, that you have the lawful authority to do, that you said you wouldn't, you held your word, and you maintained your integrity. So I just want to say thank you, and to all the staff. Yes, I get emotional every now and again, because we care, much the same way you guys do. And a conversation last week with one person, while getting emotional about the stuff we were doing, simply to say, I could not choose to work with a better group of people, period. Hard decisions, good people, making the best decisions with the information possible to serve the public. And I think we've done that, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Segan.
I'd like to thank the Public Works Department. On Sunday night, I had a communication from a resident after 8 o'clock about a water main break. And, you know, these are the things that we generally don't recognize, the after-hours work with people that are working at nighttime when we're not looking. And some of the officials there told me that they were busy that night because it wasn't just the one that was reported to me, but the resident got back to me immediately the next morning around 8 o'clock in the morning and said how impressed they were about the fast action and the good work of the Public Works Department. So I just wanted to make sure that you were recognized.
Thank you. I think they've been incredibly busy for the past week or so, and I know CAO and I were just talking about this is the most snow I think we've seen consistently at this time of the year. It's just odd to see so much snow coming down at once, and as much as I always wish for a white Christmas, I won't do that this year, so that hopefully you guys get a break. Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to extend my congratulations to Parks and Rec. I'm a senior, so I went on a senior tour up to Chatham and then eventually up to Forest and over to the casino for supper. It was an excellent tour you put together, and I want to thank you for that. Never been on a bus like that before. 3 guys and 48 women. It was a heck of a team and a good time. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Notices of motion. Councillor Reno?
I have one. At the next meeting, I intend to introduce a notice of motion to engage AMO to make MPAC reassessment a priority for their 2026 conference and campaign with the provincial government.
Thank you. Any others? Nope. Okay, closed session. We have 3 to report out. So we have a report out from the November 25th, 2025 closed meeting of council. On November 25th, 2025, council moved into closed session in accordance with section 239, section 2, subsection G of the Municipal Act 2001, being matters that can be discussed in closed session under another act, specifically the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019. Council received information and provided direction to the mayor. Item 2 is a report out from the November 27th, 2025 closed meeting of council. On November 27th, 2025, council moved into closed session in accordance with the Municipal Act 2001, sections 239, section 2, subsection B, being personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and 239, section 2, subsection D, being labor relations or employee negotiations to discuss a matter related to both those exemptions. Council received information, no other action was taken. And finally, report out from December 9th, 2025, closed meeting of council. On December 9th, 2025, council moved into closed session in accordance with section 239, section 2, subsection E of the Municipal Act 2001 to discuss potential litigation in accordance with section 239, section 2, subsection F, to receive advice subject to solicitor-client privilege with respect to the same matter. Council received information and provided direction to administration. We don't have any bylaws this evening, so before we wrap up, as this is our final council meeting of 2025, which is crazy, but I want to wish everyone a very happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. And I hope the coming weeks are spent with the ones you love, relaxing, taking some time away from the town and your work, and just being in the present with the ones you love. So we look forward to seeing everyone in 2026. But before we sign off, we are going to allow council members to give greetings if they wish. Councilor Richo Spagnola.
Thank you. So I'd like to wish our town staff, as well as my council colleagues and administration, as well as the residents of LaSalle, a very Merry Christmas and a joyous holiday and a Happy New Year. Hopefully you take some time for yourselves and your family, be present in the moment, and just enjoy and embrace the time off that you do have. So again, wishing all of you a happy holiday and a Happy New Year.
Councilor Carrick.
So from my family to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Councilor Burns.
I would echo my colleague Mark's comments. Happy Christmas and New Year's. Please drive safely and enjoy your family and your time off.
Councilor Segan.
I too would like to wish our administration, fellow councilors, the staff here at the Town Hall, and our residents a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. Having a music background, I can tell you there's a lot going on right now around the town, around the Essex County. Please take a chance to do some of that, because it's very uplifting to be able to celebrate with your families. Thanks.
Councilor Reno.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to also take this opportunity to wish my council colleagues a Merry Christmas. We have had a big year. We've had a lot of challenges. We've agreed, we've disagreed, but in general, we've moved things forward. So thank you for all your support this year, and hopefully we can all take some time off to recharge. To the entire staff at the Town of LaSalle, not just the people at the desks here, right to Public Works, to the lifeguards. Thank you to everybody that has made Living LaSalle something, because it is something. Living LaSalle is not just having your garbage collected timely. It's all about the trails. It's all about the activities. It's all about the bus trips. It's all about what we are as a community. So I want to thank everybody who helped support that vision, and obviously to everyone who's reached out, all the residents who've reached out with issues or with comments or with problems or with solutions. I want to thank all of you for engaging and being part of a solution. It is well appreciated when people come to the table before decisions are made. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Deputy Mayor.
What more to say? The other deputy's looking at me smiling, going, you're simply going to repeat. So I'll say thank you to all the staff. Thank you to the residents, colleagues and friends. We're lucky to be where we are, to have what we have, and it's because everybody wants to make a difference. As long as we keep doing that, our little corner of the world will stay wonderful. So whether it's Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, I'm going to miss some, but just spend some time to enjoy what we have in our community. Treat each other nicely, smile, engage, and keep getting along. Merry Christmas.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for that. We will end the meeting with our confirmatory bylaw 2025-101 be given a first, second, third reading and finally passed. Moved by Councilor Reno, support by Councilor Segan. All in favor? And that carries. Meeting adjourned. Have a great night and the rest of 2025.